Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Steve Down. This is my guitar. Happy New Year and welcome to a new series. I hope you had a really good Christmas despite any disruption here in the UK. We're back into lockdown 3 as of a few days ago, which is really frustrating. But depending on where you are, I hope you had managed to have a good Christmas. Thank you to all my new patrons. There's been so many of you that have signed on over Christmas, so thanks for that. I'm going to grab my iPad to read out all the names because I can't remember all of them. So thanks to Oliver, Nathan, Ulf, Giancarlo, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, sorry if I'm not, Jan, Bernard, York, Eric, Philippe and David. Yeah, tons of you guys, and thanks so much for the support. I really appreciate it. I've written some notes this week, so I'm sorry if it looks like I'm reading off script. I am, because I want to make sure that what I'm about to put across today is nice and succinct. So this week we start a new series looking at modal improvisation, and as always I've picked a tune which is going to be our vehicle for this, and the tune that I've picked is Milestones by Miles Davis. Sometimes it's called Miles because there's two separate different tunes called Milestones, and one is a ballad and one is a hard bop tune. This tune's taken from the album, the 1958 album of the same name, and we're going to learn the chord melody and then the rip-roaring solo that Cannonball Adderley does. Yeah, I know, Cannonball Adderley is an alto sax player, not a guitarist. We're not going to be learning alto sax, thankfully. What we are going to be doing is learning his sax solo on the guitar. And the reason for doing this is it expands your creativity. When you learn a solo that wasn't originally played on your chosen instrument, you will be expanding your creative mind and learning new concepts, harmonic, melodic and rhythmic, because remember, they have a completely different perspective from you. So on the guitar we're going to get lots of fourthsy kind of sounds that we get from pentatonic shapes and things like that, because our guitar is tuned in fourths, whereas a pianist has everything right laid out in front of them, so everything's far more linear. So learning something that is played on the piano, you're going to get a little bit more of a linear sound, and it's going to be the same for the sax as well. So this is just going to expand our minds, so it's a really, really useful thing and will develop your creativity in improvisation and also your technique as a player as well. This week we're going to learn the head in a chord melody, and then we'll spend the next 4 weeks looking at the solo that Cannonball played on it. Before we get started, if you want to support my channel, then Patreon is a really good place to go to do that, and the link is on the screen right now. When you join up, you get the added benefit of having the transcriptions that appear on the screen in PDF and Guitar Pro format. You also get all of the exercise packs, chord scale packs as well that go along with it. You get the backing track, and you also get some monthly extras as well. You also get the ability to be able to ask me any questions and suggest things as well. That's just on the first tier. The second tier, you can commission me to do a transcription, one transcription a month of any solo of your choosing, and I'll get it to you within a week. On the final tier, you get all of the previous 2 tiers benefits, but you also get a one-to-one lesson with me, which will be online now. If you want to thank me for the lesson, but you don't want to go as far as a subscription, then there's a link to buy me a coffee below. If you don't want to do any of that because of your financial situation, or you just don't feel like it, then just mash the subscribe button and make sure you hit the like button on the way as well. So let's get into Milestones. Milestones is an example of modal jazz. Modal jazz is characterized by the following: sparse chord changes where a single chord can last many bars, no strict written out chord progression, pedal points and drones, chordal chords. And this is to avoid accidentally sounding tonal. We'll cover the difference between tonal harmony and modal harmony in a bit. It doesn't mean that modal harmony is atonal. By de-emphasizing the role of chords, it forces the improviser to think of different, more creative ways that they can foster interest with melody, rhythm, timbre, or emotion. This piece, Milestones, actually has all of those characteristics. So Milestones predates the quite overused example of the start of modal jazz, which is Kinda Blue. That is a modal jazz album, but it wasn't the start of Miles's endeavors into that. The album, which is from the year previous, Milestones, which is what this tune comes from, 1958, that was where he started trying to use some of the book that both him and Gil Evans and Bill Evans, no relation, had discovered, and that's George Russell's Lydian chromatic concept of tonal organization. And yeah, I did have to read that off of my scripts. So let's get stuck in. Let's take a look at the A section. So with both sections, I've arranged this as a chord melody. So I'm keeping the melody in the top. And the A section is in the key of G Dorian, which is a mode of the F major scale. That's the second mode. This is where we use the notes that are built off of the second note of the F major scale. So here's the F major scale. And then here is the G Dorian scale, which starts on the second note of the F major scale. There are, of course, 5 other modes: Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, which we'll be looking at later, and also the Locrian. We're not going to look at all of those today. We'll take a look at the Aeolian a little bit later. We'll take a look at different modes in a different video. So with the chord melody, we can see 3 chords being used: G minor 7, A minor 7, and B flat major 7. Here they are. As we know, we can build chords off of any note of the major scale. So these are built off of the G and A and B flat, which are from the parental scale, which is the F major scale. So what we have here is G minor 7, A minor 7, and B flat major 7. G Dorian is, as we know, a mode of F major. So we have all of the diatonic chords built off of the notes of the major scale at our disposal. So here, these chords aren't used in the same way that they'll be used in functional harmony. In modal harmony, which is what we're using here, there's no hierarchy of chords. In tonal harmony, there is a hierarchy of chords. The chords that you use are either the tonic chord, or they're used in a progression which moves towards the tonic. And the tonic acts like a center of gravity. So if we take the 2-5-1, which is quite readily used in tonal harmony within jazz, you'll see that the first 2 chords, G minor 7 and C7, are moving towards, they're functioning as a movement towards the center of gravity, which is F major 7, which is your tonic. So that's functional harmony. In modal harmony, all chords are equal. The chords don't feel like they need to resolve anywhere. There's a tonal center, but no functional harmony. So here, we don't really have a chord progression as such, but we do use diatonic chords. So let's get down to learning the chords that we're using. The first chord that we're using is a G minor 7. That's using the notes from the F major scale, which is G, B flat, D, and F. Remember, the way that we build minor and major chords is with the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and then you add the 7th on as well. So here we've got the 1st, the G, the B flat, the D, and the F. And that's the tonic, minor 3rd, 5th, and minor 7. And here I'm using my 4th finger for the G, my 3rd finger for the B flat, my 2nd finger for the D, and my 1st finger for the F. And here, just to make things easier, I'm using my fingers to do it. So I'm using my thumb for the G on the 5th string, and then my 3 fingers, my index, middle, and annular finger for the other 3 notes. If you want to make this a little bit simpler, then you can just take your pinky finger off of the chord and just do this. This has still got all of the important notes. No, it doesn't have the tonic, but that's probably going to be covered by the bass. So the second chord is A minor 7. That's built off of the 3rd note of the F major scale, and that note is, the first note is A, and then you've got C and E and also G. So that's the tonic, the minor 3rd, the 5th, and minor 7. Okay, put those all together, and you've got your A minor 7 again. If it's too difficult with the stretch, just take your pinky off, and you've still got all you need to spell out that chord. And then the 3rd chord is B flat major 7, and that is built off of the 4th note of the F major scale, and that's B flat, D, F, and A, and that is the tonic, the 3rd, major 3rd, 5th, and major 7. And I'm using my 1st finger to bar across the 5th and the major 7, across the F and the A there. Okay, and I've kind of hinge barred it so that I'm pulling my finger towards the camera and hinging my finger so that I can mute that 1st string there. So if I did choose to strum it, even if I hit that 1st string, it's not going to sound out, because otherwise it will sound a bit odd if that E string sounds out. So for each chord, I've kept the melody on top. So this repeats twice for your A section, and then we move on to the B section. So as I said earlier, there's not a strict chord progression per se in modal jazz. You could call this a chord progression, yes, but it does get moved around quite a bit. And as you'll hear in the solo, the pianist is actually interchanging all of those chords. So he's not sticking to the same chord progression. He's using a selection of chords which are derived from the diatonic harmony, those 7 chords that we looked at earlier: F major 7, G minor 7, A minor 7, B flat major 7, C7, D minor 7, and E half diminished. So here's the B section. So here we switch to a new set of chords from a different parental scale, which is the C major scale. Modal players and modal composers like to use different scales from different parental scales from different keys in order to change it up. Because of the nature of modal harmony, it can get a bit boring. So just to make things a little bit more spicy, they might just move into a different key and then move back. Other modal composers from around this time, like Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter, did utilize this. So here we're taking a mode which is built off of the 6th degree of the C major scale, which is A Aeolian. So here's the C major scale. And then here's the A Aeolian scale. Again, using the same notes, just starting on A rather than on C. Again, within this area, within this modal area, we have all of the chords that are disposable from the C major key, from the parental key. Those chords: C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7, A minor 7, and B half diminished. And what they've done here is they've used that pedal tone which we talked about earlier. So underneath every single chord, we've got the pedal of A underneath. So the first chord that we've got, we could call an A minor 9 or a C major 7 with an A in the bass. So the way that I'm fretting this is I'm keeping the melody in the top, So the chord, here's the chord of C major 7 with the major 7 in the top to get that melody. And I've barred my first finger across the 5th fret, and then I'm using my pinky because that's more comfortable for me, but you could equally just use your 3rd to play that, and then I've got the A in the bass. And then the second chord, D minor 7 with an A in the bass, so that's this up close. And here I've got an A minor shape on the 6th fret, and then I've got my pinky with the melody in the top, which is the minor 7. And then the third chord is E minor 7 with an A in the bass, so that's this up close. So I've got an A minor shape on the 8th fret with my pinky taking the melody in the top, which is the minor 7. And then for the fourth chord, we've got F major 7 with an A in the bass, which is this up close. Very similar to the A minor 9 or C major 7 with an A in the bass. We've got our first finger barred across these 3 notes. And then my pinky or my 3rd finger on the 12th fret on the 1st string, taking the melody note. All together, it sounds like this. I have heard a lot of players make it sound slightly more hip by stacking fourths, and this is something that Bill Evans does a lot. If you listen to the intro to So What, you'll hear Bill Evans stacking fourths. And so what he's done here is essentially he's taken a note, a diatonic note, and then he's gone up a 4th to C, and then up another 4th to F, and then he's gone up another 4th, and because if he went up a 4th from there, a perfect 4th, he would get B flat, which isn't in the key. He's gone up an augmented 4th, or a tritone, to B natural, which is in the key. So we get that sound, which is quite John Scofield-y. So here you'll hear him do this for the first chord. And then for the second chord, all natural 4ths. And then up to here, we've got a perfect 4th for the first note. And then another tritone or augmented 4th, and then another natural 4th here, perfect 4th here, and then back. So all of the notes are a 4th apart, whether they're perfect 4ths or augmented 4ths. This is just something that just sounds slightly hipper. So I've done it for the second playing of the B section. So the first playing is just the harmonization using the diatonic chords. And then the second playing of it is using the stacked 4ths. And then we head back to the A section and do the A section once more. So the structure is A, B, A. Section A, followed by another section A, and then you've got a B section, and then back to the A section again. So that's the head, fairly simple when you break it down. Remember the structure is A, B, A, that you're keeping all of the melody notes on top, so try and bring those out a little bit more ahead of the chords. Do practice all of your diatonic chords, because if you do accompany anyone in the solo of this tune, then you'll need to have all of those diatonic chords in order to be able to fully play modally. We'll get stuck into Cannonball's stupid solo next week. We're going to take a look at just his playing over the double A section. Don't be frightened by the speed. If you're just starting out looking at this kind of stuff and playing at this kind of speed, you can still use all of the techniques, whether it's rhythmic, harmonic, or melodic, just at a slower pace and in different tunes as well. Thanks again to all of my subscribers and patrons. Thanks to all of the new guys who have joined over the Christmas period, and to all of you long haulers since I started in March. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button on the way. And if you want to sign up to Patreon and get all of the extra benefits, then the link is on the screen here. And if you just want to say thanks in a one-off fashion, then Buy Me a Coffee link is down here. Happy practicing, and I'll see you next week.